No, it doesn't. Well, welcome to our 11th live show. It's great to have you here. Looking forward to getting this one underway. I hope you've had a good week, and I hope that, the whole Christmas thing, shopping and all the hordes of people and so on. It's not a favourite thing for me to do, which is the whole shopping thing. It actually does my head in. But these shows have really, for us, have become really quite significant. And we've had quite a spectacular time over the past few weeks doing this, like few months really. And what I wanted to do for today, and I'll come on to the specifics, which is the title of today's show, was to give just a bit of a background, which is why do all this? What was the point? And it kind of makes me smile when I think about it, because I started off my career, I guess, selling direct. I was selling technology into central London and to businesses in central London. And from technology, it moved on to telecoms, and telecoms to CRM and on-premise CRM, and from CRM on to consultancy and professional services and so on. So when I kind of talk about this, say, well, this is what we do for technology, SaaS and services, it's not because it was just plucked out of the air. It's because I've got first-hand experience in selling in those areas. And of course, if anyone starts out, if you start out in selling, you start out in selling. You start out cold calling. You don't have the luxury of BDRs. We didn't then. But, you start out doing telesales, knocking on doors in the rain, sleet and snow. Funnily enough, November is the month I started. Should I say when? 1984. November 1984. I remember it well. But the point is that nobody, if anybody wants to kind of communicate about new business development and so on, and they've never sat in front of a customer, a prospect, or made the phone call, or processed something from start to finish, it becomes very difficult to trust them to do the right thing by salespeople. And I'm kind of talking about marketers. And so during my development phase over those years, I ran numbers of different companies, and the most people I had working for me was about 40 people, but I didn't like it. I'm not a manager. It's just crowd control. I wasn't into that. But part and parcel of that process was I'd look at it and think, the business was so dependent on salespeople. We have to have salespeople. More salespeople, the better, and so on, because nobody had worked out how to orchestrate a process that would keep new business coming in. Nobody had done it. Salespeople back in the day, salespeople were the ones that did the cold calling, door knocking, got a compliment slip, made the phone call, did the appointment, presentation, demonstration, come back, ring the bell after you got the deal. That's what they did. And marketing did your business cards and a brochure. That was it. And so I kind of poured over this for a long, long time. And you have people like you got the Scott Aitken and Waterman, and Simon. I can't even remember his name now. But you've got these people that create something like music and put someone in front of them, get someone to front it, and you think, well, why can't you do that for sales? Why doesn't that happen in sales? Why can't you create a mechanism or a process that you're creating this interest, and you've got front men or women going out and selling? Why can't you do that? Surely that's Simon Cowell. Surely that must be a thing within sales. Of course, it's not, is it? Someone goes to get a new job, and they are asked, have you got an address book? Have you got a little black book of all your previous contacts in it? Because we need that. And you think, well, no, I even if I did, I wouldn't do it, because if I come and work for you and then leave you and take all your customers with me, you'll be on my case like like nobody's business. So excuse me. So the mechanism for new business development is properly flawed. So I thought, right, well, what could possibly be done to create a mechanism that can look to ensure that salespeople really, really, really excel, for it to be an absolute blast, for, not kind of kingmaker, but you know what I mean? You creating something that you can put someone out there, doesn't matter who they are, you will make them successful because of your internal mechanism that they cannot take with them whenever they leave. Now, this is speaking to CEOs, for example. So you have this, everybody has this desire to make it all happen, to make it fly. You went into business because you knew you had a target market, but nobody was really clued in enough to be able to reach that target market. Not at a sensible cost anyway. I mean, even at a ridiculous cost. The ridiculous cost became a massive call centre of telesales people or advertising on television, which nobody ever does. Big call centres, yes, but nobody wants to talk to anyone. So over the years, what happened, you realise that there are there are strategies that have been adopted that everybody follows, and then you realise those strategies were designed for consumers but not for B2Bs, because B2Bs buy differently, don't we? We want something, we want to keep stum, we want to keep it quiet. We're not going to tell everybody what we're up to. It's private, it's confidential. That's how it works. We want to self-serve, self-educate, stay anonymous. That's how it is. But then the flip side is expecting your salespeople to go out there and find these people to go and sell to. It's really difficult. So there needs to be some kind of mesh, some blending, this kind of meeting of logic to generate serious amounts of business. And there's this lack of accountability as well, within marketing. The marketing do what they want to do and ridicule and deride sales. Well, clearly, I've just got to press this so I remember. There we go. So you salespeople and sales teams are not getting the leads, they're not getting the deals, they're not got the pipeline, they're not getting business in, yet marketing is saying, well, what's your problem? We're on target. We're getting the clicks, we've got the KPIs, we've got this, that and the other, we're getting bonuses. Well, look at you, and you're not. So there's a big problem. And everyone's heard it before, there's this issue between sales and marketing. This void, this tension between the two. Yeah, that's right. And it will never, ever, 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 ever go away because it's messed up. It doesn't work until now. And that's what this is about. This is what these shows are about. So with that in mind, there's one thing I always forget to do when I do this, and that's actually make sure that we have this appear, which is our lower third, and just says, that's who I am. And then it will slide off to one side, and then we can carry on with the rest of the show. So the point is that if we go on to here, we go on to this section here, there has to be a mechanism and a process that achieves, that enables you to get on the radar of a prospect and engage with them and be able to captivate them to an extent where they go, I like you, I quite like what you're doing, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to look at some more stuff, because you are aligning your business to them, and that's the critical thing. So just to cover this, because some people haven't, some people have been on the show before, some people haven't. People listen on a podcast, they don't really know what this is about either. And the point is to give a bit of a flavour, kind of an umbrella and flavour about who we are and what we do. You can hear the sales, who, what, when, where, why and how. All open questions. Who's Sales Exchange? What do we do? What's our market? We're a new business development organisation that uses multimedia streaming and podcasting and video and so on to generate new business for technology, SaaS and services organisations. And the people within those organisations that we kind of focus on is obviously the CEO, but coming down the sales side. So CEO, CGO, CRO, VPs of sales, salespeople. They're the people that we focus on, because the force is strong in marketing because what they've convinced people to do, they're still doing. So in order for anything to change, the people that it is affecting need to understand how this works, and that's why we focus on those people. Excuse me. So what the show's about, the shows are about providing open access information about how to go about generating significant amounts of new business. That's it. You won't find a form to fill in. You can spend as much time on our website as you like. It's completely open access, and we have provided 100% of everything you would ever need on our website for you to go and do it yourself if you wanted to. But we know that's not how people work, because they go, well, you're the expert, you come and do it, and which is fine, and that's obviously what we're in business for. In terms of your strategy, why, when should you change your strategy? Well, when you realise the existing one doesn't work. Because if you keep doing what you've always done, you'll get what you've always gotten, and it'll never change. We broadcast from Stone. We used to be in Hertfordshire, and we moved up to Stone in Staffordshire about just over 3 months ago. Lovely place, lovely part of the world for us, but it's central. So we've got Manchester's not very far. It's only an hour or so back down to London on the train. So it's really, really, really good. But it's the location is wonderful. Why do a live show? Well, the reason we do a live show is twofold, really. I can prepare, and I've got all the technology in front of me here. And the point of doing it live and not just doing it as a recording is because I want you to see me do this. It's really important. Because if I said, oh, you've got to learn all this stuff, you've got to learn video cameras, you've got to learn this, you've got to learn editing and sound design, you won't do it. Nobody will do it. Why would you do it? It's too much effort. It's bad enough as it is already. But if you see someone doing this, you think, wait a second, he's doing this by himself. Yeah? And you think, look, no hands and all this stuff is happening. And there's this lower third thing again coming up. What's all that about? So the thing is that it's so important for you as a business to know that one person could do this. Two's better, three's great. Someone in front of the camera, a couple of people doing the technical stuff, 2 people in front of the camera, 1 person doing all that kind of stuff. So what I'm saying is that you can do this. It is not complicated. It just might seem it, but it's not complicated. Really important to know. And that's why you can do the same. It says, how can your business do the same? You could start with a mobile. You can go live on a mobile phone. But bearing in mind you're a business selling to other professional organisations, I'd recommend you use something a bit more than just a mobile phone. But you've seen it happen before. You've seen it everywhere. But it's looking at the level of professionalism that is attainable at extremely low cost. I mean, I've got multiple cameras here and all the, everything. So the point is saying you can do this. Okay. So moving on. I will put a lower third up here. Not a lower third. It's just a graphic along the bottom in a second. That'll have my mobile number and how you can contact me. I've got my phone. If you send me a text, I'll read it. I won't read it I won't read any chat. But if you send me a text, I'll read it if you've got a question, and I'll answer it on air. But the point is that if you want to get on the radar of prospects, how are you going to go about doing it? So let's start here. I watched this video earlier this week. It was recorded last month, and Gary Vaynerchuk did this. And the critical thing about, and he was saying these are the biggest challenges, finding and reaching your audience, really important. And another part to that is you've got to select your platform. Where are they? If your prospects are on Facebook, for example, we'll go and advertise on Facebook. We do put stuff on there, but our target market's not on there. We know our target market is on LinkedIn. So we focus on LinkedIn, but you've got to understand the parameters of LinkedIn. Really important, because you've got to look at dwell time. All the platforms use dwell time. So they're saying, we want people to stay on our platform. We're not going to give priority to anything that sends people somewhere else. So if you go, well, okay, well, let's make LinkedIn our focus. And if LinkedIn is our focus, then we want to keep people on LinkedIn too. So you can write content, write articles, company pages, this, that, and the other, and stream and do this. All on LinkedIn. So keeping people on LinkedIn, which really, really does work. It seriously works well. Now, the point is consistency. I'm going to come on to that in a minute. But the other part is, in his presentation, in his effing and blinding to the audience, and what it was the Insurance Technology Conference, I think it was ITC. It was in Las Vegas, so clearly it wasn't cheap. And he was, in this particular keynote, he was speaking to 500 or 600 people. And it's sponsored by McKinsey. So you've got big management company sponsoring it as well. So he's got all these people in front of him. And he says, okay, put your hand up, everybody who posts on LinkedIn. And most of them put their hand up. Okay, put your hands down. Put your hand up, the companies that post daily on LinkedIn. 11 people out of 600. You have to think about that. And remember that figure. 2%, give or take, post daily on LinkedIn. Okay? And I'll come back to that in a minute, well, about 10 minutes, and you'll see, wow. It's really important. So, key thing is understanding your platform and market and who you're going to speak to and how you're going to keep in touch with them consistently. Yeah. Okay, there's some people will smile. The picture was that the photograph was just an addition. But the bottom line is what's our job? Our job is to say, hello, it's me, here we are. This is our target market. We know who you are. That's why we went into business in the first place. We know exactly who our target market is and how many of those types of companies are in, let's just work with the UK, are just in the UK. So we know exactly how many in the UK. We've got a database, yada, yada, yada. That's it. So you've identified the market, you set up a business, you're going to get their contact details, tell them you exist, and then sell to them. That is our job as salespeople. It's not complicated. But the thing is that it starts to get a bit messy because Steve Jobs said it doesn't make sense. You know, you hire these people, you're not going to employ people and tell them what to do. You hire them to get them to tell you what to do. I mean, admittedly, there's an element of humility as being a CEO or an owner of a business, allowing somebody into your company and listening to them. And the critical thing here, this is all about new business development. And you have to look at and think about how much money you're spending on it. Because, like I said, in accountancy, there's checks and balances. I think I said that, did I? I hope I said that. Within accountancy, there's checks and balances. Within marketing, there isn't. Doesn't exist. Nobody's accountable. Keep doing the same thing. Doesn't matter. Because this is what happens. I mean, I know that's a bit of a tongue-in-cheek, but why not? It's no different. You've got marketing people telling CEOs, this is what you've got to do. But it's wrong. It doesn't work. I mean, it really doesn't work because it was designed for consumers, not for businesses, because businesses buy differently to consumers. You want to buy a pair of jeans, a pair of trainers, go and buy them out of your own money right now, this second. No issue at all. Buy something for your company. You're going to consider what the situation, consider the ROI. You're going to think about it. You're going to learn about it. You're not going to make a knee-jerk reaction to buy something. But some salespeople are even told, that's how you got, or marketers rather, are told, just treat whatever you're selling, just treat it as if it's like pennies. It's like mere bagatelle. Yeah? So the logic is not there. So because marketing got involved, everybody perceived and believed that digital was really, really attractive. Well, what we can do is we can get all this technology in. We don't need all these BDRs and telesales people. We get all the technology in, and that will make us a fortune because we won't have to do the cold calling or employ all the people. It'll all be automated. Everyone became a marketer because everybody was told the same thing again and again and again and again, and repetition always works. So everybody thinks that they know the mechanisms and the structure, and everybody would fight you to say, of course I know about marketing. The trouble is, your business didn't increase. You spent all that money on SaaS, it didn't increase. The average number of SaaS platforms that businesses use is between 32 and 76, or was it 36 and 72, one or the other. And half of those platforms are marketing. So companies are spending a fortune on annual recurring costs for marketing, but they're not making any more money because the average turnover per person per annum around the world is about 100 to 120 grand pounds, or $140,000 per person per annum. So it's really, it doesn't work. And so companies keep going bust, which they do. Those figures have never changed. In fact, they get worse incrementally. But you're looking at 20% go bust in the first year, 30% in the second, 50% in the third, and by 10 years, 91% of all businesses have gone bust. That's really serious. The okay, we get investment. 40% of businesses that get investment go bust. 75% don't achieve their own targets, and 95% don't make their investors any money. Provide an ROI to them. This is a bad picture overall. So unless you've done, effectively, you've got to do your research to go, well, actually, what's going on here? And you have to get to this point. Who are you going to trust to take your business forward if over the past 20 years, nothing's changed? It's a serious question. Marketers have had 20 years to make your business fly, and they haven't done it. I saw, I think it was either last year, or it might have been last year. If it wasn't last year, it was the year before. B2B Marketing, they're based in Farringdon. They're like not quite a society, but they're an organisation. I can't remember the company that owns it now. It begins with P. But they published an article that said by 2030, a CMO will have earned their position on the board of directors. 2030, that's another 6 years. Wait a second. How long have businesses had CMOs? Like 20 years? More? And the reason I say 20 years, I'm talking about like related to the digital process and everything else. So I go back 20 years. By 2030, right, so that's 30 years they've had that they will have earned their position on the board, yet nobody's attributing business growth to marketing because they keep churning them and firing them every 18 months. That is the standard churn for the past 8 years, 9 years, 18 months. So the picture is nonsense, is shocking, really. And so the point is that you've got ineffective strategies, and it causes a loss of income, a loss of status, personal and business, and a loss of future financial security. Because salespeople are sitting there going, well, where are the leads? I can't sell if I haven't got a lead. Well, businesses, tell their staff, you follow the marketing. So they follow the marketing, but to what end? And unfortunately, with certain businesses, the CEO thinks that they know about marketing, but they've got 101 other things to do. They pick stuff up, and we're not daft. But if we're told the same thing again and again and again and again, and we ask maybe our peers, maybe other people we know, oh yeah, we do that. We've got demand gen, lead gen, ABM, ABX, gifting, pay per click. Oh well, we've got all that as well. So maybe we must be doing it right because everybody else has got it. No, everybody else is just not making any money either. Really important. So the critical thing here is about the new strategies. Why new strategies? These aren't in addition to. These are replacement strategies. It's really key to understand that. And I've put this title here saying essential sales involvement. Why? Because people in sales, and that's everyone. That's from account execs up to the directors. So everybody in sales, you must understand this in order to challenge it. You will not have had a conversation or heard someone speak like me speak. What I'm going to say in this stream, you will never have heard anybody speak like me before, because I'm not on the side of marketing, I'm on the side of sales, because no sales, no business, no job. And if you've been around, if you've done, if you've taken risks, you've taken it on the chin. Been there as well. So that's why this is so important for salespeople to understand, and it's not to re-educate and retrain salespeople as some kind of quasi-marketer or whatever. That's not the purpose of this. It's specifically to give you this inside track on what's going on. What you do with it, entirely up to you. You'll know what to do with it by the end of this particular show. You know exactly what to do with it. But the point is that it's not very nice. It's never been very nice, and it's not been done with your interests at heart. Period. The way that businesses have been structured and orchestrated through marketing is to serve the technology organisations, the MarTech organisations. Their job is annual recurring revenue from your business. Whether you make any money out of it, it's irrelevant. Of course it's irrelevant. And unfortunately, most businesses fell for it because they were told this is what you have to do. And the marketeurs keep endorsing and pushing that message. That's why you've got all this SaaS. So the thing is, it's just work. New ways of working, new strategies, it's work. The old ways don't work, this work does work. This way works. But if you see what I'm saying, it is only work. There's nothing special about it, it's just different. That's all it is. You think, oh, it's all this technology. No. There are colleges and further education locations. They're called film and television school. There are people around the world gagging for gigs like this from a technical perspective. Live broadcasting, loads of them. Just that, why would you employ them? Because you've gone down the digital marketing route, same as everybody else. So, anyway, another story. We'll talk about that another time, yeah? So, the critical areas of activity, you've got outbound engagement and inbound. That's how it works. That's how it's always worked. It's always been like that. And so what you need to be aware of as salespeople, if you're a salesperson watching this, you need to be properly understand and grasp this so that you can communicate this to your VP of sales or your CRO, CGO or CEO, depending on your relationships and connections. Hierarchy connections. So it's important that you understand what you're saying when you present it. Or you can simply point them to the live show, this catch-up show, because if you are a CEO, you need to understand this to be able to compare and contrast what you've been told in the past by everybody else. And that's the deal here. So getting on someone's radar, big question, massive question. You've got to tell your prospects you exist, naturally. You started your business, so I'm going to say whether you're CEO or sales. You started your business or started selling in that business because you perceived that A, there was a big enough market, and B, you could get hold of it. You could access it. That's why you went into business. So it's very simple. Just working on some numbers here. Say, for example, you wanted to sell to companies that had a turnover of 5 or 6 million and above, give or take, because you want to make sure they can afford to buy your product. Some people say, well, there's got to be higher than that. Bear with me for a second. In the UK, there are 44,000 companies that employ 50 people or more. Okay, 44,000. Companies with 250 employees or more, there's 8,000. So within that, if we just take 10,000 people, 10,000 businesses, because you could sell to them. Doesn't matter what the figures are, but just 10's an easy number. So 10,000 businesses. Now, you went into business because you knew and or you told your investors that your total addressable market was X and this is what you could potentially achieve within that industry, within that market. So every week, between 1 and 15% of your total addressable market start thinking about buying your type of product, because that's why you went into business in the first place. So I don't think there's any need to argue about the 1 to 15%. Okay, it's an interesting number. So how do you get in touch with them? How do you make this all happen? Well, the first thing is you should already have this database. If your marketing people have not ensured that you have this database, then perhaps they're not the right marketing people you should be employing. Like I said, I'm not here to big up marketing. So you have a 10,000 name database. Email these people. Email this 10,000 people every week. Tell them that you exist. Tell them to come and have a look, do whatever, yeah? So you're emailing them every week. Cost. 350 quid per 1,000, give or take, for a database. Cost to email. I know it's MailChimp, but we're not talking about automation here. We're just talking about outbound. Yeah? 10,000 emails, 12 times a month, 150 quid. How does that compare with your marketing automation platform that you're paying for however many thousands of contacts? You have to think about that as well. Why do these marketing automation platforms have such large numbers of people for you to contact when you're only looking at nurturing prospects? It's because it's consumer related. We'll come on to that later. So then once you're emailing people every week, you then upload that same database to LinkedIn, and then you will then appear on the news feeds of all of those 10,000 people as well. Now, if you think about it, what else could you do? Pretty much nothing. You could do pay-per-click. What's the point? Come on to that in a minute as well. No point doing pay-per-click. Costs loads of money. You don't get the throughput. You don't get the leads. And virtually 100% of businesses don't want to fill out a form. And I think going back 10 years, it was 97% didn't want to fill out a form. So your marketers know these figures, or should know these figures. Yeah, so that's really quite significant. Demand-based, say 100% of businesses, senior business people, do not want to fill out a form. They hate it, quote unquote. Demand-based. So by emailing them and appearing on their news feeds on a regular basis on LinkedIn, and you can put adverts or content or just get them to follow you. That's all that's needed. Okay? You've then got engagement. So that's your outbound. So you've got to reach out to them. There's no point worrying about pay-per-click, because pay-per-click's passive, isn't it? You're just sitting there waiting, hoping that you've got the right advert in the right place, the right keywords, the right ABC split test click banners, and that you've bid enough, and that they're going to... there's too many variables there. Okay? So then you're going to get to your engagement. So you're telling people, here we are, this is what we do, come and have a look, come and watch us, come and look at us. And bearing in mind that people want to remain anonymous. They don't want you to know who they are. And when you've got next to no business on the go, you want to know everything about everybody that's coming anywhere near your kind of sniffing past your website. You want to, relax, don't worry about it anymore, forget it. Just concentrate on this, because you present who you are. Here we are. You're watching me. You're listening to me. And the thing is that we're doing this live stream series because you want to remain anonymous. We get a certain number of people watch this live, and then we get 10 or 15 times more people watch it afterwards. So we don't know who they are, so they watch it anonymously. And then we've got all the people that listen to the show because we convert the show to a podcast. So the whole point of this is that if with your market, how many people have you got following your company page? Someone will tell you, but that's your instant market. That's your instant audience. So we're changing the numbers. Sales, we were always told, weren't we? Sales is a numbers game, always a numbers game. The more phone calls you make, the more appointments you make. Phone calls, interested people, appointments, presentation, demonstration, sale. Always a numbers game. But nobody ever, ever, ever told us how to manipulate the numbers, how to manage the numbers. Ever. Because no one knew. So by doing it this way, if you have a total addressable market of, say, 10,000 people, 10,000 businesses, you will be able to communicate to every single one of them at the same time. Say you brought something new out. You tell everybody at the same time, come and watch our show. All at the same time. You've just mullered your competition because they're not doing it. Because this is new. Yeah. So the point is that, well, how much does it cost to put on a live show? Next to nothing. Yes, you've got to buy some kit, but to drive it, 35 quid a month, I think it's 35. And I can stream, no, 50 quid a month, no, or 50 to 100 quid. Depends on what you want to do and so on and so on. But minimum 50 quid a month, and you can stream across eight different platforms simultaneously at the same time. So at the moment we're streaming on LinkedIn, Facebook and YouTube all at the same time. I have never ever experienced this level of engagement in my career. It is spectacular. Nobody can touch this. It's really, really significant. And it is absolutely everything you have ever, ever wanted in sales. So, streaming, you do live streaming, podcast, convert it to a podcast. The numbers are ridiculous. And of course, people want to remain anonymous. And that's exactly what you're delivering them. So, we're relaxed about this. I mean, there is a fairly significant part to this, which is, I shouldn't smile, but the thing is, you don't need that. You don't need all those people in marketing. You might not need all those people in sales. So the people in sales better get their finger out and start brushing up on their presentation skills, because this delivery, I say salespeople should be sitting in front of the camera. They're the ones that know the product. They know the customers. They can talk, speak, chill, have a laugh, do whatever. They're the ones who should be in front of the camera. You don't need to worry about marketing at all. You just leave them to one side. Yeah. So this is where it has to get. This is the important part, I suppose, really, with all of this, because you can go, oh, this is all great and great, wonderful, wonderful. But if you go back to that picture of marketing talking to the CEOs, oh, this works, but that works, and this works, and that works. No, it doesn't. But in order to combat that, you need to have this information in your arsenal. You need to have this ammunition. It's imperative. Because it may be that you want to go to a director or a board or whatever and say, got to watch this thing, it's a great idea, we need to do this. Now I understand why we're not getting any business. Now I understand why things have changed. The first thing is about your content. We're looking at your content at the moment that's being produced, typically has about is about blogs. People do blogs, and the blogs tend to have 6, maybe 7, 8 paragraphs. That's it, and some internal links in the text. Now, Google are not interested in those articles, those blogs. They're irrelevant. That's why you're not getting any traffic from it. It's fact, absolute fact. Why? Well, it needs to be between 2,000 and 6,000 words. Not just a few paragraphs. You've got to have the right content structure. It's really important to understand the content structure. It's using certain coding within the page, which is, they call them H1, H2, H3, bullet lists, content lists at the front, graphics, videos, but really deep, in-depth, interesting content that people want to read it all. That's what Google's looking for. Now, the thing is, you think that you're writing for your customers. You're not. You're writing for Google. You must understand this. It's critical. You are writing for Google to present content that serves Google's customers on their search engine. That you think about that. They're not your customer yet. And even with the changes that are being made within Google search, there is less and less reason for people to click to go to your site because of the aggregation of the information content. So you've got position 0, so you've got rich snippets, and you've got information, and they're gradually changing that top end, that above the line, above the fold. So what you see on your screen is gradually going to change. So it becomes more informative, more instant access, instant answer, rather than having to click through. So you have to think about this in advance, because this is already impacting businesses now. So the idea is that you know these are certain things that you have to do. And, you know, whether you're using structured data or not, is it valid? Well, it kind of is and it isn't, because you've got to understand how Google is using search, whether it's in your favor or not. It's really, really, really important. It causes a lot of stress because people want more traffic, more traffic. Why aren't we getting the traffic? Because you just won't get it. Because or just on the subject of I was jumping ahead, on the subject of content, you've got to write content. This is how, so this is the captivating, you want to get on their radar. Once they're on your radar, and they're looking at you, what are they going to do? So they've watched your live stream, your call to actions on your live stream, and with the information that you'll put out, which I'll come on to in a second, they are going to want to read something. They're going to want to learn about something. And you have to provide it. And a good place to start, because if you're putting out a few paragraphs, the people that are writing the content, whether it's people in sales or copywriters or whoever, pre-sales, whoever, you must follow a structure, the structure that Google says, even though Google may or may not index what you've got. But the point is, it's what your prospects are looking for. You must be of a mindset that says, we want to educate our prospects. The better you educate them, the better you are teaching them how to buy from you. Critical. So using GPT, I don't know if you've used it or how you've used it. Identify your subject, ask for a 10-point outline, get it to write an introduction, get it to give you a title, get some images, whether you do use DALL-E or Midjourney, request internal, external links, so external websites that people can go to, and then get it to expand each of those article outlines. Say, I could be 300, 200, 400 words, 10 points, 400 words, 4,000 page article, a 4,000 word article. Bingo. Minutes. And then you can also set up within that process internal links as well. Because the point is if you adhere to what Google is saying, it means that you are going to do a good service to your prospects. Forget Google for a minute. Yeah? You've got to be serving your prospects. The next part is looking at all this content. So you've got articles, videos, live recordings, and podcasts. Where do you start? Well, that's a good place to start there. There's a whole list there, and you can expand on this. Once you get to read this, you go, we could do this, we could do that. But the point is you can take any one of those subjects to do with your company. How to, or FAQs, or about your customers, or about your markets, or partners, or products, or anything. Yeah. And then you could do a video about it to teach people on demand, or you could do a live stream because you've got a new piece of content that's come out, and so you're talking about your content. It's not complicated to put this information together, but the bottom line is that you want to captivate your customers. They don't become customers overnight. We both know that. You've then got getting found. So people have always thought, well, we've got to do this and get found on Google. Well, that's where part of the problem stops and starts, or starts and stops. So for our content, just so as you're aware, we've got 300 odd pages on our website. And I think because of the downloads and books and articles and goodness knows what we've got, I worked out there was something like 750,000 words. You think, wow, that's a lot. Yeah, it is. It's a lot of work, load of information, and 2/3 are indexed, which means 100 pages are not indexed by Google. And of those 100 pages, they're split 60-40. You've got 60 not indexed, discovered, crawled, not indexed. And the others are discovered and passed, which means we don't want them. So we've got 60 odd articles that are just waiting there to be indexed by Google. Because I've got one article that popped up on, I don't know, the 23rd of November, I think it was, that they changed the criteria. So now they want they're expecting me to rewrite it. Product hasn't changed. Nothing else has changed, but Google's changed. The really useful content update. So the thing is that you've got to understand what the best practices are and why they don't work for B2Bs. So if you look at this is our website. So we've got 3 specific areas: digital selling, digital marketing, digital services. We've got pages that relate to them, and on each of those main pages we've got all these articles in those different colours. If you look at digital marketing and look at marketing, you've then got 4 subcategories within that: coaching, review, strategy and tactics. And there's a load of content there. And all those pieces of content are all interconnected. So it shows a cluster. So when a prospect goes to one of these pages, they can see all these other pages and go, oh, that's interesting, I can read that, or I can read that. So you're looking at providing as much information as you can every single time someone goes to your page. So you've got digital marketing, and this is how we look at it. We go, oh, you've got website, this is the hierarchy of the website, and then Google will find us. So if you turn it upside down, you've then got, someone does a search on Google, they're going to find one particular article, that'll lead them to that subcategory, to the main category, to the top category, and now they can buy from us. That's what we all expect. That's what we all love to see that. It's all, yes, it works great. And I've got still have, I don't even look now. I used to, are we on page 1? Are we page 2? What do we need to do? I'm not bothered anymore. I used to be, but not anymore. Google then brought out EEAT. So you've got experience, expertise, authority and trust. Every single page that you had to have this information on it, because it delivers this warm feeling to your prospect when they're reading about you. Now, these are things that relate to search, but if you don't worry so much about it being relating to search, but it relates to how you are treating your customers, your prospects, then they are going to get a better experience from you. And then in October, was the helpful content update, saying, well, you can't just be using ChatGPT or AI related stuff to crank out your content. Although I've mentioned it in detail before, you have to get into the swing of what you could do and how you could write. Wouldn't recommend you just get it and chuck it onto your website. You can get GPT to write it and then personalize it. Yeah. But a lot of companies saw a lot of their content fall off a cliff after October because it wasn't written for the person, it was written for the search engine. Keyword, 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 keyword. Yeah. And so now even search is that much more intelligent that, well, what can you say? So it's a big problem. So how do you overcome that problem? Well, we've got a structure called Social 444. It simply means 4 adverts 4 times a day every 4 weeks and repeat every 4 weeks. So you create 120 adverts, you put 4 adverts out every day, and then you repeat those 120 the following month. So you don't get penalised for repetition. What do the adverts advertise? Well, the adverts advertise your content. I don't know, you may have, if you've been following me for any length of time, you've seen some of these. So these are some of our adverts. And this is happening all the time. Okay, every single day, throughout the day, with effort to produce them, yes, of course, and then to link the advert with just a link to take it to either our website or to content that's already on LinkedIn. It goes back to dwell time. They want people to stay on their website. So let's not kind of upset the apple cart here. Let's play to their rules. So what we can then do is replace this, your pay-per-click and your SEO. I say replacing SEO. It's not really replacing SEO. It's like saying, don't worry about it. You don't need to worry about it. If you've got if you know your total addressable market and you're actually communicating to those, call it 10,000, you're communicating to that 10,000, you're putting information on your news feeds to that 10,000 as to what you're doing and what you've got available, and you're doing the live show and everything else. What do you need SEO for? If it gets indexed, great, it gets indexed. But if it doesn't get indexed, it's because somebody else has got a better piece of content than yours somewhere else, or they're paying Google a lot of money for pay-per-click as well, so you won't get indexed. So there's an antitrust case that's happening in the States because Google are not are being not truthful about their pay-per-click and their search criteria. But that's public anyway. So the point of this is that you can set and forget. You've got graphic adverts as we've got there, and video adverts. So if you've heard about YouTube Shorts, they're less than 60 seconds or less. You can then do shorts in the same way that you're doing graphic adverts to say, for example, hi, I'm Nigel Main from Sales Exchange. We've just brought out a new white paper about blah, 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 blah. It'll blow your mind. It's fantastic. The link's up top. Click on there and give us a call if you're interested. Finished. And you can churn that and do them again and again and again and again and again. I mean, and the point is that that's one of the things I'm going to talk about next week, about what we're planning for next year. But the point is why are you not getting the levels of business that you expected? It's because all this stuff has changed, and in the most part, you haven't been told about it. So then you've got your call to action. And I mean, the critical thing about this is whether it's a page that you've got on your website, whether it's anything that you put on, call it LinkedIn, anything that you put on social on LinkedIn, is your call to action. What do you want them to do? Should it have a proper call to action? You just want to encourage them to get to know, like, and trust you. That's what this is all about. But you want to do it at scale. That's the critical thing. So you think, to be able to contact and engage with the same numbers of people that I'm doing, and I'm bearing in mind, you can see how many people I'm connected to on LinkedIn. It's only a couple of thousand, and that's over years. But we're getting like 150, 200 people a week. It's like, come on. You couldn't do that unless you had, if you're using BDRs and telesales, you couldn't do that unless you had 100 odd people on the phone. Because if they can make 300 calls a week, 60 a day, that's the max. That's the accepted max. You find one person a week, give or take. So you couldn't do it. Whereas this is relaxed, back foot. People can watch it whenever it suits them. Say what you like, don't get interrupted. but you can message me. And talking about messaging, we're going to slowly come into land here. I'm just going to put this up here. You can message me, obviously, on LinkedIn. You can text me on that number, or you can email me. I'll leave that up there for a bit. But the point is that nothing can touch this. Therefore, your call to action is always about saying, do you want to take this to another stage? Ball's in your court. We've got everything you need here. If you need any direction, if you need some additional information, if you can't find something, even like with FAQ pages. So people have got FAQ. Oh yeah, we've got an FAQ. Do you have a form on your FAQ page that if they can't find the answer to a question, that they can actually pose a question on the FAQ page for you to answer them without phoning them up, for you to answer them and then put that FAQ onto your FAQ page. Most people don't. They just think it's an opportunity every single time to try and get a contact and phone up and say, can I come and sell you? No. Is the answer? I'm just looking to learn. And once I've learned what I need to do or what I need to know, I'll come back to you. Oh, okay. But that's how life is. Now, the next part of this is an important, I kind of put this up on a regular basis. In 1997, Dr. Jeffrey Lance said that it took 10 touches for you to become familiar with someone. So you needed to see them about 10 times. Because email was coming on the scene and so on and so on, 1 in 3 emails would get through, which meant that you needed about 30 emails over a certain period of time. And you have to think about that. You won't do 30 in a day or 30 in a week. You could look at 30 weeks. It's half a year. That's a good 6 months. I know I can add up, but it's over 6 months. So you've got to think about that. That's the first thing. The second thing, 2023, it's 30 touches now because there's so much noise. And 1 in 10 get through because 25 years ago there wasn't X or Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, whether that's still being used, LinkedIn and stuff. It wasn't being used in that way. So there's so much more noise. So there's 30 touches, 1 in 10. So now you need 300 forms of messaging to communicate to your audience. So repetition is really important, like I showed you with those adverts. I should have mentioned the adverts. To send those adverts out costs about 40, 50 quid a month. I've got more exposure on LinkedIn than every single one of those companies who were at that Gary Vee event, that ITC event in Las Vegas. 11 people post about once a day. I'm posting like 8, 9, 10 times a day across different accounts. They're going out now. I'm not even touching it. And like I said, the impressions, the engagement, it's just through the roof. It's just beyond. So you can't touch this. And that was my objective right at the beginning, How do you create a mechanism that you can make happen and it just keeps bringing people to you? Yes, you've got to set it up, but so what? It's just work. And the other thing to bear in mind is about competition. And the competition out there are some of the luxury brands and some of the bigger companies, because it's about dwell time and it's about scroll. So you've got your thumb flipping up on your mobile and you stop at Red Bull or you stop at a luxury brand because they've done a great advert, and you can stop and watch it. But just below it is you. The likelihood is they may well scroll past it. That's why you need this repetition in place. Now, the other interesting thing that Gary Vaynerchuk said was that keep doing that for a year. So keep posting, every day for a year, and you'll absolutely fly. Now, we both know if you catch someone at the right time, you can get a deal. So if you're starting from cold, probably take you a year. I don't think it would. I would say it would take much less than that, but you've got to have all your ducks in a row. You've got to have once you press start and your adverts are going out, or your videos are going out, or your content's going out, and you've got all your supporting content back on your website. Would it take a year? I don't think it would. I don't think it would. But it's worth bearing that in mind, that it's not going to happen overnight. But to look at this through the lenses of, but what you've been doing was actually wrong. You, me, we were misled by marketers telling us to buy the software, and we went and did it. And the people that were the spectacular reference sites that we were given, what we didn't realise was they were B2C companies Banks, B2C. Insurance, B2C. Cars, B2C. Adidas, B2C. All of them. How many new deals do you get signed a year? You just want to double that, yeah? Fine. This will do it. Easy. You just got to plan it. You just got to plan it. So, just to recap, to get on their radar, 10,000 emails a week. Automated, just done. Because you've got a program in place, because of you're engaging with people at scale, because you're doing streaming and converting that to a podcast. You're captivating your audience. You're captivating your audience because you've got content that is consumable. They want it. They want to read. They want to learn and self-educate and self-serve and stay anonymous. That's the whole point. That's what we've all been doing wrong. We want our salespeople to go out there and smash it, yet we won't speak to anyone. We've got staff and exec assistants and goodness knows what to keep people. I'm not speaking to them. Get rid of them. That's how we treat people, per se. So that's how your staff are being treated by other people. They don't want to speak to them. So you have to find a different way of being able to communicate and say, hey, look, we're over here. I'm not going to sing Lionel Richie's song, but hello, here we are. And then you've got your call to action. And your call to action is ostensibly helping them understand how to buy from you. That's it. Which will change their environment. And it's all about getting to know, like, and trust. You go, well, do you know what? I quite like them. I could do business with them. And lots of people think, we've got our own IP. We don't want to let people know our intellectual property and this and the other. You walk into someone's office and give them everything they want. If somebody really wanted your information, they'd get it. So the point is that they're all busy. These other companies are all busy trying to work out their own stuff. All you have to do is do this and significantly elevate your organization above all of your competition. You've got the innovator, early adopter stuff, yeah? And so really, like your next step, where'd you go from here? With all this information? We have a very large website. There's loads of information on it. You're going to spend lots of time on there reading and just kind of soaking it, getting this on the inside. The important thing is to consider this as an exercise to look at, to say, well, what would it look like? What would we do? How would it work? And get endorsement from your colleagues on the board, or if you're in sales, passing it up and saying, look, I've seen this. This is really great. I think we should consider it. But what I've seen and what I've learned, it's explained why things haven't been as we expected them to be. Because otherwise, if you just go in there and go, stop doing that, do something different, marketing will slay you by saying, you don't know what you're talking about. You go, no, I might not, but I know a man who does. And that's really important. So you can start your planning for next year. And for us, I'll put that in blue. That's our my call to action. We do consultancy. And by using us, you can and will get fast-tracked into changing the way that you engage with new prospects at scale. And we'll help scope it out, everything that you need. Do it like this. I mean, we do it over Zoom or Teams or whatever. It doesn't make any difference. Or we'll come and come to your offices. But the bottom line is that to see this as something different for next year, if you do what you've always done, you will get what you've always got. And people think that by changing CMOs and senior marketers, they'll get something different. You won't. They've all been brought up on the same the same diet of demand gen, lead gen, ABM, ABX, pay-per-click and gifting, because they don't know what else to do. And then when you talk about a funnel, they go, I think we should call it a dark funnel, because actually we don't know what's going on. So the important thing is that you've now heard something that absolutely nobody else in the world is doing. And that's critical. If you want to get an edge, if you want to get ahead, this is not about spending loads of money. it's adjusting what you were told to do in the first place by these marketers. You have to adjust it to align it to selling, and selling at scale. And you become the Scott Aitken and Waterman of your industry, taking on board salespeople who you will make superstars, and they will love you for it. And retention levels will go up. Everybody will enjoy this because it is different. It shows a change in what's been going on. And let's face it, that's what every single sales orientated or driven company wants. They want to see something different. And this is it. So that's it. Almost last slide, I think this is. Next week, last show of 2023, summary of what we've done. And we'll let you know what we've got planned and the things to look out for as we move forward into next year. And that's it. I hope I'm almost on the hour now. That's better. I've been known to overrun. But if you've got any questions, like I said, there's my numbers on there, emails on there. Obviously the website salesexchange.co.uk, and this recording is this video stream is available on Catch Up as well. So I will leave it there. I'll find the button I have to press. Oh, here it is. One button press, and then we're finished. And I'll see you next week, same time, same place. Bye for now.